look, I think this one surprised me a bit because of all of these complaints online going after Trump and the Epstein files. You might think his approval ratings were going down with Republicans. If anything, they're going up. Republicans who approve of Trump. Look at our CNN poll. The prior one, 86%. The one out this week, 88% with Republicans. How about Quinnipiac? The prior poll, 87% approve of Republicans. This week out, 90% with Republicans. If anything, Donald Trump's approval rating has gone up since this whole Epstein saga started. He is at the apex, or close there too, in terms of his popularity with Republican voters, Epstein files, complaints, or not.
You just proved that not everything online is real.
Yes,
in real life.
Who knew?
Amazing.
Twitter and X are not reality.
Is there any reason that you can find that this hasn't taken hold and hurt him?
Yeah. I mean, one, much of the points. It's that not low.
It might change, maybe, in like a couple weeks, maybe. We can dream.
Imagine one of the biggest streamers encouraging his alcohol-addicted friend to drink himself to death while essaying female streamers, and everyone claps. Yeah, that actually happened.
Damn!
It happened.
Foreign Fridays. Oh no, sounds audience hating on Ludwig. I don't care that
Do
much.
you know this logo? Probably not, but it's a company that's about to make Trump and his family billions. Trump
Oh, is this the holding, or not the holding company? Is this the LLC that has his Trump coin or whatever bullshit?
doubled his fortune within a year thanks to crypto. The Trump family is positioning themselves as major players in the industry, leveraging the presidency like no one before them. So investigative reporters took a closer look at their crypto ventures, and they uncovered a story of get-rich-quick advisors and dating gurus turned business partners. A foreign investment. White a story of get-rich-quick advisors and dating gurus turned business partners.
What the fuck? Does this guy look like Megamind? Am I crazy? The fuck?
A foreign investment, White House access for sale, paused fraud lawsuits, and presidential pardons. The world's most powerful man is reshaping an industry his businesses are deeply invested in. And somehow, outside that industry, hardly anyone seems to notice. How did the Trump family pull this off?
It's actually really easy when your base doesn't give a fuck about anything you do at all. I don't think I'm watching this. I can't handle any of this.
Subscribe to Ground News today. I feel like what they're doing is really important, especially right now, and it helps us approach the news in a more fair and balanced way. So thank you to Ground News for sponsoring this video, and thank you, the viewer, for not skipping the ad. Right? Now let's get back to the video. With all these issues men are facing, they seem to be moving to the right and the Republicans more, since the left and Democrats have essentially just become the young men eat and die movement. Months ago, I covered how the Democratic Party was losing young men, and I predicted Kamala Harris would lose in part because of young men overwhelmingly voting for Trump, and I was correct. Well, now the Democrats have unveiled their final solution to the right-wing male loser epidemic. Democrats spending millions to learn how to speak to American men and win back the working class. Democrats have blown millions of dollars on efforts to appeal to American men who turned to President Donald Trump in droves on Election Day in hopes of winning back the working class. Democrats have spent $20 million on their efforts, with donors and strategists holding up in luxury hotel rooms, brainstorming how to convince working class men to return to the party. Ah yes, nothing more relatable to working class men than luxury hotel rooms. Great job, guys. The plan? Codename Sam, or Speaking with American Men, a strategic plan, promises to use the funds to study the syntax, language, and content that gains attention and virality in these spaces. The effort also recommends Democrats buy advertisement in video games, among other things. The Democrat Party is treating young men like exotic animals they're studying. Now, as you can see here is the young man in his natural habitat, in a dark, messy cave surrounded by Taco Bell wrappers and empty Mountain Dew bottles. Here is another young man, as you can see, also dwelling in a dark cave. This one has dyed his hair blue to scare off potential predators. Unfortunately, it also scares off potential mates, but moving on, here is another young man, we think. We're not quite sure about this one. We're still studying it. Listen, Democrats, instead of spending $20 million to do that stupid, maybe you should, I don't know, actually listen to men. I listen to men for free all the time. All I have to do is read my comment section. Let's see here. ShoeOnHead is a perfect example of why we need to repeal the 19th. Greetings from Albania. I hate women so much, it's unreal. Ooh, shoo, mommy, milkies, 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 mommy, mommy, mommy. One time I got my penis stuck in a soda bottle. Okay, on second thought, maybe my comment section is not the best source.
Since Trump scored big with young male voters last election, Democrats are spending $20 million to learn how to speak their language. I think it's a waste of money. Maybe these guys should spend their money on teaching men to not be such sexists. Maybe that's
under that now. Look at what young women have to choose from. The pickings are slim. Yes, we might have a feminism problem in America, but it's the feminization of men. There are a lot of young women out there that want to get married. They want to have kids. They want to have stable families. But there are
Tommy Lauren was... This rant was like 4 years ago, wasn't it? I think there was a phone call or something else too. Her rant was base, but a lot of people got real mad about it. But it was very true.
a lot of young men out there who want to live in mama's basement and order DoorDash.
Oh no. The very night I was sitting on my couch writing the script to my video about how the Democrats are spending $20 million to relate to young men, this came on my TV on Fox News. A Tommy Lauren and Laura Ingraham segment about stay-at-home sons, men who still live at home. Literally minutes after this aired, it went absolutely viral on Twitter for not good reasons. So we are going to unpack this piece by piece. Because even though everyone was mocking it and making fun of it, as far as I saw, nobody was really dissecting it and breaking down exactly why she was so egregiously wrong. So come join me in debunking the male loser epidemic. Because who else better equipped to talk about men's issues than two stupid blonde bimbos? Hold on one second. 3 stupid blonde bimbos. Sorry. I felt left out. All right, let's go. Wait. I need my gamer fuel. See, I do drink it. That one's for you, Tectone.
It's a major problem. And Speaker Johnson has been talking about those maybe deadbeat folks that are on Medicaid, and maybe some of those folks are the stay-at-home sons. We don't know. But I'll tell you this, leave it to Gen Z to rebrand laziness and social awkwardness as something cutesy, like a stay-at-home son. But Laura, I gotta tell you, this is also a big problem when it comes to, I think, declining birth rates, people not getting married and having children. That's a big problem. They blame it on women. Well, look at what young women have to choose from. The pickings are slim. Yes, we might have a feminism problem in America, but it's the feminization of men. There are a lot of young women out there that want to get married. They want to have kids. They want to have stable families. But there are a lot of young men out there who want to live in mama's basement and order DoorDash. And that's why we have declining birth rates and a lot of other problems in society. It's time to go out, get a job, breathe the fresh air, meet people in real life. Let's just get back to basics.
That's the sound of a woman who could never play more than support, and she got super salty because she told her friend group of men, she's like, I could play a carry role, watch me. And then she solo queued fucking mid all the way down to wood 4 and then quit. And now she rages out against men all day long because she can never hack it on the Rift.
Basics.
So first of all, this stay-at-home son thing is not a real thing. It was a random throwaway, self-deprecating joke some contestant on Jeopardy said. One f***ing guy. Because I guess there's nothing else important going on that they could cover on the news. They literally made this into a fake phenomenon so they can on young men. Meanwhile, Democrats are spending millions of dollars trying to win back young men. Oh no, the young men are leaving us in droves. How do we get them back? Don't worry, I got this. Hey, you fat, lazy, Cheeto dust-covered slobs. F*** you. Nice. Thanks. I love you. I love you too. Is the amount of young men living home with their parents increasing? Yes. Is it because they're lazy bums and just want to order DoorDash all day? No. And also, they're not paying for DoorDash, Tommy. They're financing it. Come on, get with the times.
There are a lot of young men out there who want to live in mama's basement and order DoorDash, and that's why we have declining birth rates. It's time to go out, get a job, breathe the fresh air.
Have either of you tried applying for a job as a young man recently, or tried buying a house on the salary of one of these young men? Have you experienced the dating market, been on the dating sites as a young man? No? Interesting, okay. Just wondering. Listen, I know the average age of a Fox News viewer is like 70 nowadays, and you need to pander to them, but Tommy, you're like 2 years younger than me. You know this isn't true. Why are you talking like this? Why are you talking like a f***ing boomer? I'm sorry, I have no other word for this, but I hate this like generational pick-me. I was born in the wrong generation. I'm not like those other young people, and you know what? She's not like those other young people. Not all young people can afford a nice nose job and lip filler and get a cushy job on Fox News based entirely on merit, I'm sure. The main problem with this brain-dead boomer-ass take is not only is it cringe, but it's completely divorced from reality. This slot is specifically designed for people who paid like $5 for a f***ing house. And listen, not all boomers, okay? My parents are boomers, they are lovely people. A lot of you guys are boomers, but when the baby boomer generation sends its people, it is not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're sending people who have lots of problems. They're bringing the housing crisis. They're bringing wage stagnation. They're falling for AI-generated photos on Facebook. But some, I assume, are good people. But my God, I truly believe they do not understand how good. Hello class, I am Miss ShoeOnHead. I am substituting for your teacher today. She was arrested for molesting a 12-year-old boy. So today we are learning about the graph. This is the growth in productivity.
Oh my God, this fucking graph. Okay, I can't. Fuck! We should do a whole ass thing on the graph, the productivity graph. The one that cuts out like 15% of the workforce in order to make its argument. Oh God. Okay, we're good. Where are we at? Okay, we're on our daily news. When did I say I was done with the news today? Oh, 6. Oh, look at what time it is. It was Jeffrey Epstein's 50th birthday, and Ghislaine Maxwell was preparing a special gift to mark the occasion. She turned to Epstein's family and friends. One of them was Donald Trump. Maxwell collected letters from Trump and dozens of Epstein's other associates for a 2003 birthday album, according to documents reviewed by the Wall Street Journal, famously a far-left publication. Pages from the leather-bound album, assembled before Epstein was first arrested in 2006, are among the documents examined by Justice Department officials who investigated Epstein and Maxwell years ago. According to people who have reviewed the pages, it's unclear if any of the pages are part of the Trump administration's recent review. The president's past relationship with Epstein is at a sensitive moment. The Justice Department documents, the so-called Epstein files, and who or what is in them are at the center of a storm consuming the Trump administration. The letter was, Trump tried to say, I never wrote a picture in my life. I don't draw pictures of women, he said. Apparently, Trump did sell pictures that he'd drawn before, so. The whole letter was voiceover. There must be more to life than having everything, the note began. And then it says, it's like a screenplay letter or whatever. Donald, yes, there is, but I won't tell you what it is. Jeffrey, nor will I, since I also know what it is. Donald, we have certain things in common, Jeffrey. Jeffrey, yes, we do, come to think of it. Donald, enigmas never age. Have you noticed that? Jeffrey, as a matter of fact, it was clear to me the last time I saw you. Donald, a pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret. Wow. Keep in mind that, like, all of fucking QAnon was spun off of... It wasn't cheese pizza. Fuck, what the fuck was it? It's not a caustic. Oh, God, what was the name? The guy... where they were like, Podesta, what was it? The Podesta email that started QAnon. Destiny, is it possible that he paid someone to do that and forgot that he did? No, he probably wrote this letter, but obviously he doesn't want to be associated with anything related to Epstein, so now he's like denying and he's super ass pained about fucking all of it. Yeah, it was some order for like 1,000 pizzas or 1,000 hot dogs or whatever, and people were like, "Oh my god, hot dogs, pizzas, it's fucking child porn, or not child porn, children. This is coded language for children." All of QAnon started off of those stupid fucking Podesta emails where people try to interpret it as like, "Oh my god, this social event they're talking about is actually like the satanic blood purification ritual where they sacrifice children." Like, read my dono. What? Been dealing with a leak in my apartment for 6 months. Currently using code enforcement to get actual results from my landlords, and they are big mad. Wish me luck in pursuing additional action. Good luck, buddy. Did you see the Pavlov versus Pisco debate? It's decent memes. Clip of Drew saying Bangladesh should abort Pakistan. The Drew guy is not a very serious person, okay? That's why, listen, Dan can throw his lot in with him. I'm good on that. Fuck, I wish I had a picture of the emails. God, these are so fucking stupid. Trump is gearing up for a lawsuit. It's impossible to predict him. I would say, like, on one side, I would say Trump won't sue because he's going to Streisand effect the fuck out of this shit. Truly, he needs to just take the Destiny device and just stream through it. Just keep doing your shit, whatever the fuck. You know, people are going to be mad for a little bit, but they will forget. They will move on. People do eventually. They will, especially your fucking sycophantic cult. Just keep on memeing, keep on pushing. Yeah, just do that. But if he sues them, it's going to be brought up in the news over and over and over again for so long. So I feel like it would be a stupid thing to do. Isn't Wall Street Journal going to cuck out and settle? Why would they cuck out and settle? They know that they're going to get sued for this, so why would they settle? Why would they even publish this if they were just planning on settling right now?
Radio.
Someone at Fox must have hit the emergency switch because now they're airing a Biden blunder mix.
Television, make sure you have the record player on at night. So I was sort of raised in the Puerto Rican community at home. We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by the you know the thing. I want to play the radio.
I feel like there are worse. I still think we finally beat Medicare. I feel like it was the best, but. Forgive my language, but this story is complete and utter bullshit. The Wall Street Journal should be ashamed for publishing it. Where is this letter? Would you be shocked to learn that they never showed it to us before publishing it? Does anyone honestly believe this sounds like Donald Trump? Okay. I would like to hear your thoughts on the dark triad theory to explain why people choose the authorities we follow. Related video if you have time. Bro, 30 minutes, dark triad? Why would you donate 20 bucks for this? I have no idea. And it's another, every time a psychologist talks about psychopaths, it's like the equivalent of like a philosopher bringing up quantum mechanics, or it's just always just gonna be like the most memey shit you've ever heard in your entire life. If you want to show me some, I'm good. Listen, yes, I agree with that theory. That's what I meant to say. I love you. Elon asks Grok if the Trump letter to Epstein is real. Is the letter most likely fake or true? Most likely fake. The letter's cryptic, third-person script, doesn't match Trump's direct style or known handwriting. He uses Sharpie notes. It's a birthday letter. What? I'll be introducing legislation to end the House of Representatives subscription contract with the Wall Street Journal. Americans shouldn't be paying for disgusting and filthy rags. I've also directed my entire staff to delete their taxpayer-funded Wall Street Journal accounts. So you're admitting now that it was all taxpayer-funded Wall Street Journal accounts? Like, why were we paying for it to begin with? Great question. I'm the new guy. Just got here 3 months ago. Okay. President Trump, we're ready to move the court tomorrow to unseal the grand jury transcripts. How common is that? Do you ever unseal information presented to a grand jury? We'll see how that goes.
It's obviously some who will not be covering big developments like Comey's daughter and her comments today. I mean, Trump told MAGA to be quiet about Jeffrey Epstein. Fox News obeyed. Fox News falling in line with Trump's Epstein plea, but will the rest of MAGA media comply? We'll play a little bit. This is Rob Schmidt addressing all of this on his show here on Newsmax last night.
Again, this is what MAGA voters voted for. A government for the people, where the rich and the powerful get the same justice as the rest of us. You may have noticed the Epstein story was almost nowhere to be found, though, on Fox News these last couple of days. After months of very consistent coverage, it's pretty obvious that a lot of people don't really know what to do with this. There's a lot of people that are very scared because it's clear that the White House didn't want this to be a subject, but Trump's base, his supporters and base, care about it.
Wow.
I mean, Hogan, there is...
Mr. Speaker, I know that in terms of just whether there's a schism in MAGA world or in the Republican Party, I think the president echoed your comments about any additional...
this guy's so fucking evil. You know who he gives me vibes of? Who's in my mind right now? Who's in my brain? Who does this guy give you vibes of? Who's got it? Who's there? Oh my God. When I show you, you're going to be like, holy shit, you're right. Nobody? Unbelievable. Tell me you don't get the vibes of this guy. Mike Johnson. He absolutely is the same, like, archetype of person. He totally is. He totally is. The prison warden from Shawshank Redemption. He's just a demon piece of shit. What's a good scene with him?
How do I look?
Listen, have you seen the movie? If you know, you know. He he has that energy, okay?
Documents related to this obsession with the Epstein files. He said it, I think he's saying today basically the same thing you said, that any pertinent things, if the court allows to produce any pertinent grand jury testimony subject to the court approval. And you've said that too. And do you expect that to happen? I mean, how does this play out? It's everywhere. It's, leads all, Drudge. It's all over the place with, sirens on Drudge. Woo, 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 because someone in 2003, might have drawn a picture of a body letter before the guy even, all the real info hadn't even been out at that point, I don't think, about this guy.
The president and I talked about that ridiculous allegation this morning. He said it's patently absurd. He's never drawn such a picture. He's never thought of drawing such a picture. And he said, did you see the language of this bogus supposed communication or card or something I supposedly sent to Epstein? He said, I don't talk like that. I don't think like that. They're literally making things up. And he's so frustrated by it. And he's going to wind up, I think, suing some of the media outlets that had put all this out there because they informed them that it was totally contrived. So, look, the president is the most maligned and attacked political figure in the history of American politics. There's no question about it. But he's also the most resilient. And you see at the same time, his approval ratings are skyrocketing. By CNN had a story, I think, a day or two ago. He was at 90% approval rating. There's never been a president that high. So the more that they attack him, the more the American people see through it.
What could be released, and why wasn't it? Because it. I mean, how do you? I don't know whether you know more information than I do, but what do you think was going on when it looked like something was going to come out? Then, there's nothing to release, and from a PR standpoint, that was I don't know. That it wasn't great the way it was handled. Is there more to come out? Will it come out?
Are you in favor of it coming out?
I am. Look, I've been on record repeatedly. I've never seen all of the Epstein files. It's outside my lane. I mean, I'm running the House. This is over at DOJ. But what I believe in is maximum transparency, and so does President Trump. And that's what he said. He says it many different ways, many different times. But we want all credible evidence to be put out there for the American people. Reagan used to remind us to trust the American people. They're smarter than anybody gives them credit for. And I believe people can draw their own conclusions about it.
I was talking to a friend on a Discord right now. Sorry. You guys thought I was talking to you, but I wasn't talking to you. You guys are actually fucking morons.
That, but they have to have the documents. Now, at the same
I think that I was accidentally muted.
Time, I think the interest here and the concern and frankly the duty, the responsibility is to protect the innocent, right? So if you have minors who are victims of sex trafficking, heaven forbid, child predatory activity, you can't have their names out there, right? So the courts and law enforcement and government agencies have a custom of protecting the innocent. Bogus allegations that would be made against people that can't be authenticated. So that's the concern. They're trying to thread that needle because the Department of Justice does have a responsibility to make sure those people's lives are not destroyed. Imagine if their names came out on a list, immediately the media and social media would pounce on these people. And
like you guys have been doing to Democrats forever, like with all the QAnon shit and all the other leaked stuff.
It would be lasting and permanent damage. So they got to be very careful. But aside from the things that would be, held back from a court of law, I say put it out there, and I think the president believes the same thing.
So, Mr. Speaker, it sounds like there is no daylight right now. The way you're describing it, there is no daylight between what you and the president want released and other Republicans.
How can there be daylight?
There is a portrayal
in a cult. Of course not. They're lockstep, baby.
There is a schism going on in the Republican Party. Representative Norman sided with Democrats in trying to amend the crypto legislation to force the release of all of the Epstein files. I mean, this is playing out in Congress. And to the extent that this impedes your ability to advance the Republican legislative agenda, how do you repair that rift if it sounds like there is no daylight between what you and the president want released and what other members of Congress want released?
Well, and there's no daylight between us and Ralph Norman. I spent hours with Ralph. He's a dear friend yesterday. What Ralph was trying to do, he told me, he said, honestly, when the Democrat amendment came up, which was in the Rules Committee, not to get too deep in the weeds, but we were working on the rescission package. That was the clawback, fraud, waste, and abuse in federal spending. The Democrats tried to hijack the hearing. So the other Republicans on the Rules Committee did what they're supposed to do, and that is protect our legislative process and get the spending cut bill to the floor. Ralph just kind of made a spontaneous decision. The amendment was kind of dropped in at the very last minute. He hadn't given a lot of thought, but he said, well, I'm for transparency. I'll vote for that. Well, guess what? Every member of the Rules Committee agrees with the same thing. That we all were in a room last night for an hour, all of them. Ralph, Chip Roy, the other members of the Rules Committee, they all agreed. And so they signed on to another resolution last night in committee asserting that very thing. So all the House Republicans, I'm telling you, every single one of them here agree with this idea. Everybody wants the Epstein files, which is the real documents related to Jeffrey Epstein.
The real ones, not the fake ones that have any of our people in it. The real ones with the other people in it.
And anybody associated with that. We want the American people to see it. We've all committed to that. And everybody's saying it in different ways, but the message is the exact same.
Joining us now.
I feel betrayed, and I feel really, really angry. We have a president who tells us to move on from Epstein because it doesn't matter. Are you guys still talking about this seriously? And yet he still talks about the 2020 election fraud. He talks about the Hunter Biden laptop. He talks about all this stuff from 5-6 years ago, and he tells us to move on from the Epstein trial or the Epstein case. People like me will not stop talking about this. I feel so betrayed and so angry. This is not what I voted for.
I'm concerned about being able to trust Donald Trump to keep his word. In his campaign, he said he was going to let us know all of the facts about this. And now he's saying, go away, don't pay attention to it.
These Epstein files, we were told that there was going to be released. There was this client list that was going to be released. And the fact that it's suddenly gone away and he's trying to gaslight us is like a punch in the gut to MAGA.
Oh, no. A punch in the gut. That's a good meme. This.
No! They expect one of us in the wreckage, brother.
Have we started the fire?
Yes. The fire rises. No! They expect one of us in the wreckage, brother.
I like how they go through this whole complicated scheme to fake the death of the scientist guy, like trading the blood. Like, couldn't we have done that for one of us? Do I really have to die in the plane? Also, why did they expect to find one of you in the wreckage? Couldn't you have all made it out?
Breaking news, CBS is canceling The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Colbert just making the shocking announcement at his show taping. Now, it's unclear why the show is canceled, but it comes after Colbert spoke out against his parent company, Paramount's $16 million settlement with Trump over the editing of a 60 Minutes interview. In fact, here's what Colbert said just a few days ago.
Now, I believe this kind of complicated financial settlement with a sitting government official has a technical name in legal circles. It's big fat bribe. Because this all comes as Paramount's owners are trying to get the Trump administration to approve the sale of our network to a new owner, Skydance.
1 second.
And now, hearing that show is canceled, Brian Stelter's out front. I mean, Brian, what more are you learning about what is, frankly, a stunning announcement? When we were talking about it, just found out about it here in this commercial break, I said, wait, what? What just happened?
It really doesn't make any sense. From the normal business logic of television goes like this. Stephen Colbert is the highest rated program in late night television. He beats his competitors. He's been going at it for 10 years, and frankly, he's been on a hot streak lately. So by the business logic of television, normally he would be in a very safe spot. However, CBS says this is a financial decision given the difficulties with the entire late night sector. And there is some truth to that explanation. I reported a couple years ago about the Late Late Show ending with James Corden because it wasn't profitable anymore. So there might be some rationale to this CBS announcement. But almost everybody, upon hearing about this, is connecting it to the Paramount settlement from 2 weeks ago. Because as you said, it was just 2 weeks ago that President Trump struck a deal with the parent of CBS, that $16 million settlement. Of course, Trump later said that there were other terms on top of the $16 million. He referenced getting public service announcements from CBS, for example. And all this comes as one owner of CBS, Sherry Redstone, is about to hand off to a new owner, David Ellison, and his company Skydance Media. There have been speculation raging online for the last 2 weeks about whether Skydance was going to try to push Colbert out. In fact, this had been such a hot topic that Colbert came back from vacation on Monday and he made jokes about it. He said he had a new mustache and so the new owners wouldn't be able to find him. So on Monday, Colbert was joking about possibly being in danger. On Wednesday, he found out his show was being canceled. Tonight, he announced it. And this all takes effect next May, Aaron. So he does have one more season. But this means one of the staunchest Trump critics on television will be leaving.
Hold on. Did he misspeak earlier when he said that Colbert got a show for the Tonight Show or whatever 10 years ago? Was that really 10 years ago? Holy shit. The timing and optics are terrible. The Stephen Colbert show costs more than $100 million a year to produce and is more than $40 million. $100 million a year. Damn. I don't know why you keep spamming this. You spammed this message 50 times. The difference between the left and right making edgy jokes is that they rationalize it by saying the left went outside of reality, woke first, so joking about his base. I don't know what you're saying here that is contradicting anything I'm saying. Yes, the right always has excuses for why their jokes are okay, and the left always has reasons for why it's not okay to make edgy. I don't know what you're asking or what. Yes. I absolutely love that Colbert got fired. His talent was even less than his ratings. I hear Jimmy Kimmel's next has even less talent than Colbert. Greg Gutfeld is better than all of them combined, including the moron on NBC who ruined the once great Tonight Show. Why the fuck is our president talking about this? Why isn't he like running the fucking country? Okay.
The White House is feeling very, very bullish about its trade agenda, swatting away questions about their legality and potential inflationary effect.
Is this one of these new channels that was created to be like the fucking crazy right-wing shit like Newsmax, or is this an actual news organization? I don't remember. 12 years ago. Oh, that still doesn't tell me anything because it could be created in 2016 for, I don't know. This is CBS? Oh, okay, this is showing CBS. Okay, I got you.
We discussed all of this.
CBS News 24/7, just kidding.
With top White House trade advisor Peter Navarro earlier today. I talked to former Vice President Pence yesterday about tariffs and their underlying legality, and he offered this comment. I want you to listen to it and then give me your response.
Tariffs are taxes. They're border taxes. I think, as we saw, the trade court unanimously ruled that was not constitutional. It's going to go to the Supreme Court, and I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if they didn't agree with the lower court.
Peter, the former vice president, says they are border taxes and they are not constitutional, and he expects the Supreme Court to nullify them, at least in part, if not in whole.
Well, Mike has lost his way on this. I think he's got amnesia about how successful tariffs were in the first administration, particularly on China, particularly on steel and aluminum. I think Mike Pence forgets also that tariffs weren't a tax at all on the American people. We saw zero inflation because of them. And the reality is, with the Trump tariffs, much or all of the tariff impact is shifted to the producers in countries which are desperate to sell to us, so they bear the burden. What Mike Pence needs to understand is tariffs are actually tax cuts. In this sense, we had $100 billion in just the first 6 months raised in terms of the tariffs. We are going to use that money to help pay for the big, beautiful tax bill, which is a tax cut in its essence. We're going to, over a 10-year period.
I said this many times. You don't feel like retarded when they name shit like this? The big, beautiful tax bill.
We have trillions of dollars from the tariffs, and that's going to be used for debt reduction and the tax cuts. So I'm not sure what Mike's doing. I really liked Mike when he was inside, but midway through the term, his chief of staff shifted to this guy named Mark Short, who basically took Mike away from the MAGA agenda, the Trump agenda, and we saw what happened. So now Mike's doing media, and we got J.D. Vance in where he used to sit. And this administration, look, it's hard to not agree that it's booming. I mean, we got inflation going down, growth going up, wages going up, and a lot of that is the tariffs. A lot of that is the strategic energy dominance. I don't know if you know this. This is an interesting statistic. We've had the lowest inflation-adjusted gasoline prices now.
Why does the name Peter Navarro sound familiar? Or is it Navarro? Sound familiar? Like he's associated with something that I can't remember. He's the trade advisor guy who he likes to cite some book, I think, to bolster his arguments, and the book is just him, but like the name is like an anagram for his own name, like he wrote it under a pseudonym or something. That's this guy, right? It's like
of any presidential administration in the modern era. It's just extraordinary. They're $3 a gallon when you adjust that for inflation and compare historically. So I'm sorry, what?
Wait,
I don't know if you know this. This is an interesting statistic. We've had the lowest inflation-adjusted gasoline prices now of any presidential administration in the modern era.
What the fuck does that mean? Inflation-adjusted gasoline prices. Gasoline is part of your CPI measurement, right? I guess like that hasn't gone up as fast relative to other goods in the CPI basket.
It's just extraordinary. They're $3 a gallon.
Remember, anytime somebody wheels out like the hyper-specific stats, you don't have to research the topic at all because you know they've already researched it and there's a reason why they're pulling out the hyper-specific stats because they're on the broad probably incorrect. So you just assume the opposite. You're actually probably safe to do that. Unironically, I think that's like a decent heuristic and it'll work most of the time. Like if you are in a debate with somebody, it's like, isn't it true that we're murdering more women today than we have in all of the history of wars we've done? And somebody's like, actually, that's not true. If you look at the percentage of women that are aged 16 to 19 with high school diplomas who have enrolled for college, their death rates are actually down significantly. And it's like, I'm guessing I'm right then, right? That sounds like you know a very specific number for some very odd reason. You won't give me a broader number. I feel like I'm 100. Now I'm more confident in my position than I was before you gave me that number.
And when you adjust that for inflation and compare historically. So I'm sorry what happened with Mike Pence, but he's just wrong about everything.
Well, all right. That's comprehensive enough of a reply. Peter, you mentioned the $113 billion in tariff revenue collected so far. Who has paid that? You just said all that has been paid entirely by foreign producers?
Yeah, so in fact, the Council of Economic Advisors, which is just across the street there in the old executive office building here in the White House complex, did a report just last week that showed that import prices have actually declined during the Trump first 6 months. So what that tells you is as the tariffs gone up, import prices have gone down. And it should be very intuitive. The more a country...
It should be very intuitive. Oh, please explain this. Give me the intuitive explanation for why a tax on something makes the price go down. Yes, please.
Tariffs gone up, import prices have gone down.
Go ahead.
And it should be very intuitive. The more a country has to sell to America in order to make their economy grow, the more they have to cut prices when we put the tariffs on. They simply...
Oh, actually, this makes sense. We can explain this. So, like, let's say that my country needs to make, okay, so this is our sales every month, all right? And let's say that we sell oil for $100 each, all right? Now, let's say that we put a 20% tariff on this, okay? And let's say that they need to make, so let's say they need to make $100 per whatever, right? And if we put a $20 tariff on this, well, now Americans are probably going to buy less because it would cost $120, right? So now they have to lower their price to $80, right? So that we have to pay the same, but then they have to sell even more. But that's okay because they just sell us even more oil, and then that like makes everything okay, right? Now this makes perfect sense because they can just lower the price to sell us more stuff. Now, if they were really smart at the tariff office, what they should do is they should just put a $110 tariff on everything. And then that way, if they put a $110 tariff on everything, now they would have to sell us oil at negative $10 a barrel. This is very intuitive, by the way. And then, because why would we pay $110 for it, right? But if they give us a $10 voucher when we buy the oil, and then we give that $10 voucher to the government, and then we just pay $100, now it's like totally fine, right? By the way, the reason why this is the most retarded statement you could ever possibly make is because it ignores something, not even marginal cost of production, it's just ignoring the cost of production. They can't just lower the price and sell more because the assumption there is that there's an arbitrary amount of profit of revenue less expenses that they can always just make up for by selling more. One, the demand might just not be there, right? There probably is some theoretical cap on how much energy we'll consume, even if it goes lower. I don't know if we're in a position to just like massively, I don't know like how consumption responds to oil prices like that. I'm sure there is some elasticity there, I'm sure. But this is such a fucking retarded statement because it assumes that producers can produce oil at any price and it's totally irrelevant or whatever.
On down, and it should be very intuitive. The more a country has to sell to America in order to make their economy grow, the more they have.
Oh shit! Wait, somebody made a comment. Hey Canada, I want $100 worth of steel. Here, take this $100. Okay, here is the $100 of steel. Thank you. Oh, I almost forgot. There's a 100% tariff. Okay, here is $100 in tariffs, and that's how the U.S. will get rich by getting everything for free. Based.
to cut prices when we put the tariffs on. They simply are addicted to the American economy. And the problem these critics have, who call tariffs inflationary and tax hikes and all of that, is we now have the history of the first Trump term where we observed, let's put steel and aluminum tariffs in. Everybody warned about inflation, had none. All we had was billions of dollars of new investment, jobs, and rising wages in the steel and aluminum industry.
Didn't we just have an issue that Trump has tried to, like, if the tariffs work so well, like, let's ignore all the data and everything else, right? But if the tariffs work so well, didn't we just have this issue where Japanese Nippon Steel or whatever the fuck just bought like the largest American steel company? Like, what's going on there? If tariffs were doing us so much good and we're helping American steel so much, what's that doing for us?
So this is a structural shift for the American people. We're going back to the future, back to the days of Hamilton, McKinley, Jefferson, Lincoln, when tariff revenues actually were the primary source of revenues for the American Republic. It wasn't until 1913 when we went off on this income tax.
Yes.
Also, I don't know if it's accurate to say that prices weren't impacted at all. What happened the last time Trump imposed tariffs on steel and aluminum? Both then and now, the Trump admin said its goals were to protect domestic steel and aluminum makers in the U.S. On national security grounds, as well as boost domestic production and create more jobs. These two things are in conflict with each other. Admit that. If you want to do things for national security reasons, that's fine, but don't pretend it's also for economic reasons. These things are often in conflict with each other. Some of those goals were achieved last time. Domestic production of these metals rose, as did employment in metal manufacturing industries, albeit briefly. But the 2018 tariffs also had negative downstream effects on the industries that required those metals as inputs. The currently planned tariffs are even more extensive. This round has higher rates and includes finished metal products as well as raw materials. While their impact remains to be seen, we can look at what happened the first time for clues as to what to expect. Someone said this guy sounds drunk off his A. Prices rose at first. Both aluminum and steel prices had been increasing in the first years of the first Trump administration, but the anticipation of subsequent imposition of the tariffs on these metals caused their domestic prices to pop up more dramatically. U.S. steel prices rose 5% in the month after tariffs first went into effect, and aluminum rose 10%. After only a few months, U.S. aluminum prices began to fall, soon followed by the price of domestic steel. However, the gap between U.S. and worldwide prices for both remained wider than it had been pre-tariffs. The prices also decreased more slowly than they had risen, especially for steel, which had been tariffed at the higher 25% rate. U.S. steel did not return to its pre-tariff price until January of 2019. By mid-2019, the tariffs were lifted for Canadian and Mexican imports, which accounted for 27% of U.S.'s steel imports and 43% of its aluminum imports. The Biden admin later ended tariffs on European Union metals in 2021 amid record high steel prices fueled by COVID-19 supply chain disruptions and Biden ruining our economy. The falling prices of aluminum and steel were in part thanks to domestic production of aluminum and steel picking up. Compared with 2017, the U.S. increased its production of steel by 6 million metric tons in 2019 and aluminum output by 350,000 metric tons. Tariffs can encourage U.S. steel and aluminum producers to ramp up capacity or restart idled plants, said William Hawk, a professor of economics at the University of South Carolina who specializes in international trade economics. However, said Hawk, expanding domestic production capacity takes time and capital. Though domestic production of steel and aluminum increased, it did not happen fast enough to bring prices down quickly. The enormous cost and limited availability of electricity needed to power the smelters, for aluminum in particular, were a significant headwind. This lag was a major reason, said Hawk, that Trump lifted the tariffs on Mexico and Canada in June of 2019. Meanwhile, overall higher prices meant higher input costs for sectors like manufacturing, construction, and transportation, major sources of demand for these metals, contributing to reduced growth after the tariffs were imposed. The impact is not surprising, said Hawk. Higher input costs, he said, can result in both higher prices for consumers and reduced output. Job creation was a mixed bag. The tariffs on metal imports did contribute to the creation of jobs in the metal production industry. The number of people working in iron and steel mills, as well as those in aluminum production, rose from 2017 to 2019 by 6% and 5%, respectively. However, as with metal production, these modest gains were not sustained for long. After the tariffs against Canada and Mexico were removed, the remaining restrictions were not enough to boost metal processing employment in the face of shortfall in domestic demands thanks to pandemic-related disruptions in 2020 and 2021. Like, this is how all tariffs go. You might be able to protect some local industry and might have a small boost there, but the downstream impacts on, because everything that's made by these industries, it has to go up in cost. It's not like we manufacture stuff or we buy stuff from overseas because we hate America. It's usually because it's cheaper. If you want to make it here, you can, but everything is going to be more expensive, which also all down the line will increase things like inflation, if you care about that. I just don't know. It's annoying that they get away with this saying like, "Oh, he did the steel tariffs and nothing bad happened. He did the steel tariffs; they were super successful." No, they weren't. Not really.
and if you look at Madison, you look at some of the report on manufacturers. It's very clear we defend our industry so we can be strong and prosperous. And McKinley, one of President Trump's favorite presidents, his slogan in the last campaign he ran for president was, "I'm a tariff man running on a tariff platform." And his economy boomed.
So, Peter, the president said yesterday when the United States, under his signature, sends a country a letter, that essentially is the deal. So are we no longer actively negotiating deals? We're just telling people what the tariff rate's going to be henceforth?
No, quite the contrary. What we're doing is, in lieu of them signing a deal with us, we're basically telling what the deal is going to be, but the negotiations are ongoing. Let me give you an example. Indonesia, most people don't know that Indonesia is the 4th largest country in the world. They have been selling us $3 of goods for every one we sell them, patently unfair. We run a $20 billion a year trade deficit with them, and these deficits are national emergency dangerous. We just cut a deal with them. We're keeping a 19% tariff on them. They will have no tariffs or non-tariff barriers on us. They're going to start buying our energy, our agricultural products, things like medical devices. And that's the kind of deal that we can do that still includes tariffs. On the other hand, we've got Japan, South Korea, very reluctant to do what they need to do, which is to play fair with America. I mean, Japan sells us 100 cars for every one we sell them. Why is that? It's because they have these enormous non-tariff barriers.
Oh.
So bottom line is we've got basically tariffs in place, either by letter or by deal, on countries that account for...
Like, where do Americans buy most of their compact cars from? Is it because they have non-tariff agreements to smuggle Hondas into the United States? Like what?
Nearly 100% of our entire trade deficit. We've got to get that down because it's a national emergency. And we're in a very good place. But to your question, the negotiations are ongoing. They continue, and everything that President Trump will do is on behalf and for the good of the American people.
Okay. Last question, Peter, before I let you go.
Sure.
When these deals are done, will any be presented to Congress? Because historically, many have, and that gives the trading partners a sense of permanence about what everyone's agreed to.
These are being done between the president and the countries. Congress is being briefed every step of the way on this. When you have big trade deals like USMCA, like we did in the first term, that's a legislative event. But this is a different breed. Look, people need to understand. The world cheats us. They cheat us with higher tariffs, higher non-tariff barriers. We've sent over $18 trillion in trade deficits over the past decade or so of our wealth, our assets, our jobs, and our factories. President Trump is ending that under the authority of what's called IEPA, and it's well within presidential powers to do that. And again, this is all about protecting American industry.
IEPA? Why didn't he say what that stands for? IEPA? Why doesn't he say Why didn't he say what that stood for? This is the Emergency Something Powers Act, right? Fuck. Well, or the National Emergency Act, what was it called? Whatever it is.
And dealing with it.
Like the Supreme Court should shoot all this down, or not even shoot it down. The president doesn't have the authority to act like this, right? The weird way that they did, and no one talks about any of it. But like, remember, the way that Trump is able to negotiate these tariffs is because he's claimed that trade deficits are a national emergency. And because trade deficits are a national emergency, he's allowed to engage in unilateral trade deals with other countries. This is bullshit. And every single Republican should understand how cucked they are and be forced to admit how cucked they are, that they are willingly just giving away all their fucking power to the president to act without congressional authority. It's insane. Why would you give the president unilateral trade negotiation powers? It's so fucking stupid.
And presidential powers to do that. And again, this is all about protecting American industry and dealing with the national emergency that's called the trade deficit.
Peter Navarro, I appreciate the time. We'll have more conversations in the future, I hope.
And I promise you, sir, anytime. And what we know, Will, is that when we put tariffs on, the foreign countries, particularly the ones that depend on us the most, they have to eat the tariffs. So tariffs, they're not tax hikes, they're tax cuts. We've had $100 billion so far we've raised in 6 months. We're going to have trillions over the 10 years.
So the other countries are paying that $100 billion, or?
And that's going to pay for the big, beautiful bill, tax cuts and debt reduction by the tune of about $2 trillion.
What? Oh, okay. Damn. We're knocking $2 trillion off our debt somehow. Based. Okay. Or at least reducing our debt accumulation somehow. I don't know how, but we did. Interesting. New poll just dropped. I can't just open a thing. I don't want to download this. Most famous, highest approval president of all time. Oh my God, how disgustingly partisan is this going to be? Give me the party breakdown, baby. Are you in favor or against the Trump admin's decision to launch military strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities? Strongly in favor, 32.7%. Who do you think makes up most of those? Do you think it's the anti-war Republicans? Oh, the partisanship is listed down here. Strongly in favor, Republican, 71.1%. Democrat, 0. Jesus. Independents, 21.7%. Crazy. The anti-war party, huh? That's wild. Isn't that wild? Huh. Trump doing an excellent job. 79.5% Republican. 14.3% say he's doing a regular job. 6.1% of Republicans think he's doing a poor job. Democrats, 98.9%. God damn. God damn. Oh, Jesus. Approval of Trump. Approve. 92% on Republicans. Disapprove. 99% for Democrats. God damn. Not divisive, though, by the way. Jesus.
Well, let's talk about President Trump's economic agenda, crypto regulation, the Fed, and more. With us now, to our delight, House Speaker Mike Johnson. Mr. Speaker, thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning. Glad to be with you as always.
I don't think we've talked since the. It's the OBBB. I can't explain it every time, but I don't think we've talked to you since the OBBB. I don't know whether you saw earlier, I had to laugh because we had President Obama's HUD secretary on, Sean Donovan, who is, in charge of a 501(c) now to try to help with the affordability crisis in housing and the shortage of housing. And he was like singing the praises of one of the provisions in OBBB. And I said, you're a Democrat and you're saying some really positive things about the low-income housing tax credit provision in the new bill. It expanded it. And he goes, well, that was a bipartisan move. And I go, there were 0 Democrats. What does that mean? It was bipartisan. But he couldn't help himself. He said that's the answer. Not freezing rent, like the candidates in New York for the mayoral race are talking about. But what's in the bill? Did you tell people that was in there, Mr. Speaker, or the media just doesn't say what's in there?
Well, the reason we named it the one big, beautiful bill is because there's so much in it for everyone. And I'm delighted to hear the former HUD Secretary sing the praises of the bill. There are a lot of...
Remember these fucking losers? I swear to God, I wish I had clips of it. Didn't these guys used to cry all the time? They're like, oh, why do they have riders and pork and all this pork and pork and pork and all these extra things in these bills, pork and all this horrible pork spending. And they put on... Oh, we love the one big, beautiful bill because we can fuck that motherfucker with so much shit. We filled it with so much fucking shit. It's so good.
Praises to sing, and everyone will be singing that tune, and certainly the voters will when it comes to the midterms in 2026. And the reason for that is because we wrote this bill for the lower and middle class earners in America. We're the working class party, the Republican Party, as we delivered for them. And it's important to point out, all the Democrats in Congress voted against all those great provisions. You're talking about historic tax cuts, historic savings at the same time. But what it means for the typical family in America, an additional average $13,000 in their pocket at the end of the year in take-home pay. You're talking about the child tax credit. 91% of Americans will benefit from the increase that we did there. Seniors got tax relief. No tax on tips and overtime and things that are tax credit. 91% of Americans will benefit from the increase.
91% of Americans will benefit from an increase in the child tax credit? Bro, how many... Does that work out mathematically? 91%? What does that mean?
That we did there. Seniors got tax relief. No tax on tips and overtime and things that are really going to mean a lot to people. And it's going to be jet fuel to the U.S. economy. You're beginning to see just the enthusiasm that the passage of the bill has sparked. This is the beginning of a great run for America. President Trump called me earlier this morning. We were doing a victory lap together on the phone about the passage of the rescission bill late here last night. And he said, Mike, we're just winning. We're going to continue to win. This is a great moment for America. I said, sir, it's historic. And there's much more to come.
You've said many, many times that it is what it is. The margin you have in the House, what we have, what the Republicans have in the Senate. $9 billion, was that hard? And for some of the other, what was the 9-hour, whatever that was? I called it a kabuki dance. But so what is it? The guys that are holding out, do they eventually get something for their own districts, or what's going on? It's making sausage, but can you explain? I don't know how you deal with it, your patients, but what do they want? What's it all about? I mean, if they're going to eventually do it, why is it so hard?
Well, I wish I could answer that question. Some people just have a lot to emote about before they finally vote. And when you have a margin as small as we do, both Leader Thune in the Senate and I in the House, we have a 3-vote margin in each chamber. And so we have to allow that process to play out. And sometimes it takes longer. I mean, I sit in rooms late at night with small subgroups of members who are working through all their questions and concerns. And I try to convince everybody here every day, we're almost never going to get 100% of what we want individually in a piece of legislation. This is
Fed Chair Jerome Powell responds to White House questions about HQ renovation. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell on Thursday formally replied to a set of pointed questions from the director of the White House Office of Management and Budget about the renovation of the Fed's Washington headquarters. Powell pointed to a newly launched page on the Fed's public website dedicated to answering questions about the project, which is over budget. He also batted down accusations by OMB Director Russell Vought that the renovated buildings will feature luxurious amenities like a private elevator, VIP lunchrooms, or a rooftop garden. The board believes it is of the utmost importance to provide transparency for our decisions and be accountable to the public, Powell wrote. Vought had put questions about the project to Powell in a public letter 1 week ago and demanded a response to them in 7 days' time. Vaught's letter was more than just a request for information, however. As President Donald Trump grows more and more frustrated with the Federal Reserve's refusal to be cucked like the rest of the Republican Party, the White House is looking for ways to pressure Powell into being cucked without him wanting to be. The July 10th letter from Vought was the latest move in this months-long cuck campaign. In it, Vought accused the chairman of having grossly mismanaged the Fed, and he singled out the years-long historic renovation effort as an example of this. He also suggested that Powell had lied to Congress in recent testimony about the status of the construction project. The president is extremely troubled by your management of the Federal Reserve System. Instead of attempting to right the Fed's fiscal ship, you have plowed ahead with an ostentatious overhaul of your Washington, D.C. headquarters, wrote Vought. Powell pointedly did not respond to these critiques in his reply, nor did he adopt the same confrontational tone Vought used. Instead, he explained the reasons for the quest overruns, pointed Vought several times to the public website, and emphasized that the Fed's cooperation with an obscure Washington planning board was voluntary, not mandatory. Although the board is not generally subject to the direction of NCPC with respect to its building projects, we voluntarily collaborated with the NCPC and benefited from robust and collaborative engagement with the Commission and blah, blah, blah. Who is this stupid cunt? I am criminally referring Jerome Powell to the DOJ to investigate perjury regarding his crazy $2.5 billion building. His building? What, does he own it personally? What? She was the one that broke the story of Trump deciding to fire Powell, which he backtracked on. Okay, based. She's from your state. Super based.
Mr. Speaker, do you think that Jay Powell is going to be around till May? We're trying to figure out exactly how to handicap that at this point. Do you think he should be around in May? Is there, I guess, people that wishes that he wouldn't, if he would resign, that probably would be easier, or that's probably not going to happen, though. What do you think? How does this play out in your view?
I'm as anxious to see how that plays out as you are. I will tell you that the sentiment here, certainly my opinion, is that we should reduce interest rates. The American economy is hot, and we have so many good things going on.
Then why would you want to reduce interest rates?
We're delivering over and over the Republican majority here for the American people, not just the one big beautiful bill, not just with the rescissions package that we passed last night, clawing back $9 billion of wasted taxpayer funds.
If it's too hot, you don't want to cut rates.
Oh yeah, isn't that fucking retarded?
If it's hot, there will be inflation.
Right, if it's too hot, maybe you don't want to cut rates.
That's actually where you're wrong, because I'm a fucking demon and I actually don't give a fuck about the future of this country or anything else. I just kind of want to be popular right now, so I think we should cut rates right now because it will supercharge the economy right now. So fuck you.
There's an argument made by Kevin Morse that it's hot in a way that could be disinflationary because of AI and productivity. So maybe it is possible, but normally you think of a rip-roaring economy as not a good time to cut rates.
Yes, except that the sectors of the economy right now that are giving us the most concern is, as the president's discussed, like with home ownership. You know, you've got a lot of young people and, well, people of all ages who are having a hard time getting into the real estate market because they can't afford the interest rates on a home, and it affects purchases of automobiles and all large ticket items. If you reduce that, I don't say slash interest rates, but do something that's meaningful to.
So what else can the Fed do? What do you want them to do? Put out a guide to your first home buying experience or something, or what? What is the?
Except that the sectors of the economy right now that are giving us the most concern is, as the president's discussed, like with home ownership. You know, you've got a lot of young people and, well, people of all ages who are having a hard time getting into the real estate market because they can't afford the interest rates on a home, and it affects purchases of automobiles and all large ticket items. If you reduce that, I don't say slash interest rates, but do something that's meaningful to get that humming again, because that will last. It'll have a lasting effect. And if you combine that with the other things that are happening, I think we'd have the greatest economy in the history of the world.
Oh, nice. Trump did file a lawsuit. Trump sues Murdoch and Dow Jones over Wall Street Journal story on Epstein birthday letter. Does Murdoch still own like all the Fox News stuff, or is there another big owner for that now? I don't actually know. I don't remember if there were like big sales where he moved away from some of that or not. He hasn't done any of that. People are saying that he'll cuck out. Like, I want to make a prediction here, but I don't know if anything can even be predicted. Like, I would say that they absolutely won't settle or cuck out. They would be willing to fight on this because they must have known when they published this story that Trump is going to sue them. They must have known that, right? So why would they publish it and then settle immediately after? It just seems... Examples of Republicans saying the pork-filled shit.
Before I ran for governor of Florida back in 2010, I've been in business all my life. And I didn't start out with money, so I had to go to banks and I had to go to investors to start the companies I started. So if I went to a bank and I said to them, give me a bunch of money, and here's the documents you have to sign, and you'll have 24 hours to read them, what do you think the chances I would have gotten any money? I wouldn't have gotten any money. If I went to an investor and said, this is what you have to sign, you've got 24, 48 hours.
24 hours to read them? Huge bill with lots of papers to read. Wow, no shot, right? That would be crazy.
To read it, but you have to sign it, and I want your money. Do you think they give it to me? No, they wouldn't give it to me. So if you went out and hired somebody to help you buy something, and a lawyer, or you had a financial planner helping you review an investment, and they said, look, I don't have time to read it, but you should just sign it, and maybe afterwards we'll know what's in it. You would fire the lawyer, or you would fire the financial planner. Nobody leads their personal life the way our federal government is operating. We get a bill that should have happened before September, that we all should have had plenty of time to review. We get a bill at 1:28 in the morning that's 3 times the size of the Bible. The Bible might have a lot of interesting stories, but I've tried to read the entire Bible straight through a bunch of times. It's hard. Think about it. We'd have to read it over three times between now and Friday night. If you wanted to say, I'm going to read every page, you'd have to read from 8 o'clock this morning, 24 hours a day, through Friday night. You'd have to read 47 pages an hour. I'd fall asleep. I think most people would fall asleep being able to do that, and you wouldn't be able to comprehend it. So 4,155 pages, 7,500 earmarks, right? And how many people, when you go back home and you say, I supported...
Rick Scott votes for Big Beautiful Bill. Ah. What a great bill. Lauren Boebert, killed a $1.7 trillion omnibus bill. Should be the top priority for all conservatives right now. Does omnibus mean anything? Was this last one an omnibus bill? It funds all the different parts of the government. Is that what that means, basically? I guess if so, I didn't hear, I never heard that term used to describe this one. But I don't know if omnibus refers specifically. Oh yeah, it's multiple appropriations bills simultaneously. Okay. What is this? I think we're all pretty much in consensus here. Dear ladies, men don't like this. Personally, I'm not the biggest like piercing and tattoo person, but like septum piercings are basically like baldness in men, to where like men get mad when women are like, oh, you just think that hot guys are hot, not that bald guys are hot. And it's like, yeah, it's the same thing with the septum piercing shit. Like if some weird like hideous girl has like a septum piercing, people are like, oh, that septum piercing is so bad. But like depending on the style, the aesthetic or whatever, like there could be a hot girl with a septum piercing. I feel like it's just like if they're hot, they're hot. If they're not, they're not. The piercing doesn't, I don't know.
This is the story of...
I don't know if I'll watch that one or not. We'll see. Trump sues Murdoch, Dow Jones over Wall Street Journal story on Epstein birthday letter. Yeah, we'll see that, I guess.
Okay, I get it. Oh.
Alligator Alcatraz is franchising the detention center that makes Dems freak out, cause migrants are dropping deuces next to toothbrushes. DHS Chief Kristi Noem is in talks with 5 more states to build copycat facilities.
We're looking at other locations as well. We've had several other states that are actually using Alligator Alcatraz as a model for how they can partner with us. I'm having ongoing conversations with 5 other governors about facilities that they may have.
But Trump's not giving up on the OG. He sent AG Pam Bondi and Secretary Doug Burgum to do a home inspection on the original Alcatraz in San Francisco. As for the Dems, they're back to crying crocodile tears about locking up illegals.
This is not only stupid, with stiff competition, one of the stupidest initiative put forth by this administration.
It's an internment camp, a place full of people who look like me, Latinos, Haitian men, subjugated to inhumane conditions under the guise of immigration enforcement.
Whatever. Kellyanne, isn't the whole effectiveness of this is, even if it didn't happen, just the idea is an incentive. So if you're in another country and you're thinking about, illegally coming here, you look at this and you go, maybe not. I mean, that's part of the reason why the numbers are down.
They are layering the disincentives, Greg. If you hear for the second or third month in a row there are zero border crossings, to the point where Trump said yesterday he didn't even believe the own number. He said, how is it 0? You're saying, am I going to be the one who actually slips through? Probably not. Oh, and if I am, look what happens. I go there temporarily. Or they may be hearing something the Democrats want to tell you, 150,000 plus square feet, 24/7 air conditioning, 24/7 health facility, 24/7 pharmacy, 3 hot squares, all the things the Democrats want to tell you. But this is meant to be temporary until you can move people where they belong, which is not in the interior of this country. I didn't hear the same people complaining when 300,000 minors, 300,000 children went missing under Biden, just in addition to all the other numbers we know.
This number is just completely fabricated, but...
The 10 million who came here, and then if you parked yourself here in New York, you got free stuff, clothing with tags on it, and cell phones, and digital benefits, and cash, and seats in a New York City classroom, and hotel rooms at the Roosevelt for weeks and months on end. They didn't complain when thousands were crammed under the bridge, which, by the way, now looks like a bridge again. So it is meant to be a deterrent more than punishment and is meant to be a holding place until we can put you where you belong. But I want the Democrats to stop lying, and I want them to stop lying about something else. They were for all this stuff. Debbie Wasserman Schultz herself, who started all this nonsense about the toilet and the sink being in the same place, just like it is in all of my bathrooms. I don't know about yours.
I have them separate. Do you have a door?
I thought you might. Once you have children, there really is no door.
Yes, we finally agree.
Anyway, I'm sorry, Jessica, that's silly. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, as head of the DNC, head of the Democratic Party, bragged to America that Barack Obama had the most Border Patrol people, had the most deportations. Now they're in the entire different direction. And it's because of their 4 years in office that...
I don't think that Obama even had the most, like, it's so stupid because this all comes down to like measuring. We change how we measure and people always refer to the measurements differently. I think Obama's huge, like, quote unquote deportation thing was that he had like record amounts of turnaways at the border where they would, they'd catch somebody trying to get in and then they would reject them there. Not that they were deporting people from the interior, but...
We put together a deadly force training scenario in this...
3 years ago. Why'd you even link me this? Does he do the scorpion draw?
Diner with 2A advocate Colin Noir. We're doing this to train you on the tactical and legal aspects of when you can and can't shoot. Remember, Colin is using a specially modified Glock 17 because a firearm is the best tool you can use to protect yourself.
Where were you?
The best tool you can use to protect yourself in all circumstances, in all situations? Is that really true?
Told you, we just out having a few drinks.
No, you weren't. Where were you?
The guys.
I checked the location on your phone. Where were you?
I told you, we just out having a few drinks.
Oh, my sister texted me.
She what?
She texted me. You were with her last night.
Ooh, sister.
I don't know what to tell you, babe.
You slept with my sister. I could kill you.
Told you, we just out having a few drinks.
Do something this weekend. No, you
weren't.
Where were you? Well,
The guys.
it's supposed to be really nice.
Why
Can
don't-
you do something outdoors? Phone. Where were
You're
you?
really an outdoors kind of guy.
Okay.
Yeah. I told you, we just out having a few
Can
drinks.
you cook something for dinner or something?
She what?
She texted me. Yeah, I don't know that I'm up for that now. I could kill you.
Babe. Babe.
Hi.
Yeah,
How are you
order for a
doing?
pickup.
Sure. What's the name? Cool.
And everything in the register, please.
What?
Yeah, everything in the register. I mean, are you stupid? Can you not hear me? I'm standing right in front of your face. Everything in the goddamn register. Open it up, you worker. And you shut up over there. Everything in here right now to me. Don't do it. Sit down. Don't do it. Sit down, you son of a bitch. Just hold on. Don't do it. Wait, hold on. Shut up. Don't do it. You man. Don't do it. You. Now, bitch.
I'm going to ask you the very first question. How many times did you shoot?
Oddly enough, that's one of the things that I remembered and recalled. For some reason, there were some things that I specifically remember. And I'm like, I remember shooting 3 times.
Okay.
That's 3.
And we're here with criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Tom Grieve. Tom, Colin just said he shot 3 times. What did you see?
8 is what the camera picked up.
8 rounds.
That's
fired at
yeah.
a bad guy. This is a perfect time to discuss making a statement to the police.
That's
fired at
yeah.
a bad guy. This is a perfect time to discuss making a statement to the police because you just came out of just a training scenario with just a little bit of elevated stress, and you swore.
I would have testified under oath that I shot 3
You
rounds.
fired 3 times. Tom, what happens when
Why the fuck didn't he do the scorpion draw?
you tell a cop something that's not true?
Well, I mean, number one, you're looking at possible obstruction charges, but more realistically than that,
Okay, I guess, like on the outer perimeter of things.
obviously, on some sort of obstruction misdemeanor, it doesn't mean anything in the context of a potential homicide charge.
Oh,
what
sure.
you are looking at, though, is, that's an easy thing for them to check out. It's an easy thing for them to talk to other witnesses about. If you've got a topped-off magazine, they're counting how many rounds you have left. They're counting the brass on the ground, right? It's an easy thing for them to check, and then to figure out from there, well, he got this wrong. What else is he not being honest with?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's why you gotta be careful. And save a magazine for when the cops show up. Just kidding.
Follow up on this. Bad guy was hitting the door, and we heard him holler on the way out. He took one in the back.
Yeah.
Now you're.
I was like, once he's done with this guy, I don't know what he's gonna do.
We also put you in a real bad position to get to that exit with the bad guy over there with the gun.
Yeah.
But you sent your girlfriend out, and I'm not going to say you did wrong. That's for the prosecutor to say. You could have escaped this situation.
And that's what the prosecutor will say.
Yeah.
Right. She left. He could have left too. Had this been real life, right? Had the bad guy, is he gonna die out in the parking lot? Is he gonna bleed out? Whatever the case may be. And then what will happen is they'll do a medical examiner report. They'll try to figure out which shot killed him, right? So we know the bad guy got hit twice. Once somewhere from the front, once somewhere from the back. Which shot was the fatal shot? And of course, the medical examiner, the ME, will do their autopsy. They'll say maybe conclusively this shot, what we believe to be the deadly shot. God willing, that was the first shot to the chest, right? And that might be the difference between charges versus versus no charges. A homicide charge versus nothing.
The time it takes for you to decide to stop doing what you're doing is enough time for him to turn, and you can get a professional witness to talk about that and to help exonerate you, but you're going to need a professional witness because the whole world says you shot a dude in the back. And I want to look at this just from the base level that any concealed carrier might see. We have an armed robbery, a bad guy with a gun, you pulled out your gun and engaged him. It looks from the outset, imminent threat of death or great bodily harm. I use deadly force to stop the threat. There's way more than that going on in this living room.
Seeing people carry guns, open carry, doesn't bother me. If I go out, I don't. However, in my mind, the moment you pull that gun and you use it intentively, or just or act aggressively in that regard, so I felt my life's in danger. And that's why, even though they were engaging, I'm thinking at any moment he's going to turn to me, and now he's going to have to deal with. Now I'm going to have to deal with him. And so I'm like, I'm going to stop that before it even gets to that point. So, but like you said, it's a lot deeper than that, right? Especially from a third party, somebody else sitting back watching that could say, I mean, yeah, I get it, but did you really have to?
And that's going to be the question that the prosecutors are going to ask. Did you really have to? Is it could you have done something else?
Here's the pitch for prison. He could have retreated. He didn't. He could have left. He didn't. Do we know necessarily when we're looking at all these different witness reports about who provoked who when it comes to the guy on the couch, when it comes to the guy who, looks for all respects as the bad actor, right? But there's going to be questions there that some lawyer is going to raise as far as, look, he might be robbing the place, but that doesn't mean that he may not be privileged to use self-defense. And if that's the guy who is the legal person who's defending themselves, Colian might be looking at, we got homicide charges now because I attacked the wrong guy. Maybe if he waits another quarter second, half second, granted, good to go at that point. From there, we move on from a prosecutor perspective of we got 8 shots versus 3. So how much can we trust whatever else he told us, right? And then, of course, we got the shot to the back. And then we're going to be talking about what happened to the guy who's robbing the place. I'm going to call him the bad guy here, right? What happened to the bad guy? Did he die in the parking lot? And then we get back to the discussion of the ME, the medical examiners, as far as which shot was the fatal shot, the first one to the chest or the one that he was running away from. Because, of course, as we all know, we only shoot to stop the threat. And yes, we can get into discussions in Colian's defense now. Absolutely, meritorious discussions need and deserve to be had as far as response time, what's reasonable under the circumstances of a high-stress situation.
No, these guys are fucking stupid. Every witness here would say the robber deserved it. So I 100% agree with you. If it's like a YouTube video, we have a clear camera angle on everything, and it's like indisputable what happened. I feel like they should stress this a little bit more. In my personal opinion, I think it seems highly unlikely that a prosecutor would really try to throw the book at somebody here based on like this guy literally pulls out his gun and he starts shooting into the fucking cafe. That's crazy. But like, if there is no camera, and if some witnesses are giving conflicting statements, and then if you've already been incorrect about some things that you've done, you say you fired 3 when you fired 8, we don't know this because we just don't realize this because events, we can make sense of an event afterwards by combining facts, but when you have the original story, it seems like that's the only way you could ever combine the events. Well, of course, this is what happened. But if you don't have the actual story, you can put together a whole bunch of other things in your mind and then think that you have a very compelling story when it's not true. And I think that's what you have to kind of be careful about. So I feel like they could do, this is so nitpicky. I mean, like, I agree with everything they said. I feel like they do a little bit of a better job of, and maybe they might actually bring that up in this video where like, in our video, it's very obvious what happened. But in the absence of like security camera footage, fucking witnesses can say all sorts of crazy, random, retarded shit, you know?
To the guy on the couch when it comes to the guy who, looks for all respects as the bad actor, right? But there's going to be questions there that some lawyer is going to raise as far as, look, he might be robbing the place, but that doesn't mean that he may not be privileged to use self-defense. And if that's the guy who is the legal person who's defending themselves, Colian might be looking at, we got homicide charges now because I attacked the wrong guy. Maybe if he waits another quarter second, half second, granted, good to go at that point. From there, we move on from a prosecutor perspective of we got 8 shots versus 3. So how much can we trust whatever else he told us, right? And then, of course, we got the shot to the back. And then we're going to be talking about what happened to the guy who's robbing the place. I'm going to call him the bad guy here, right? What happened to the bad guy? Did he die in the parking lot? And then we get back to the discussion of the ME, the medical examiners, as far as which shot was the fatal shot, the first one to the chest or the one that he was running away from. Because, of course, as we all know, we only shoot.
I also don't know what this means by, can a medical examiner determine like a fatal shot if multiple shots, if left untreated, could be fatal? So, for instance, if you shoot somebody 3 times in the ankle and then 1 time in the head, it seems like it'd be pretty easy to figure out what the quote-unquote fatal shot is. But let's say you shoot somebody 2 times in the back, one pierces or grazes significantly like a part of, like the heart, and another one like embeds itself in the lung, and then you shoot him 1 time in the back of the head. Sure, the back of the head shot kills him 100%, but the other 2 would have probably killed him if left untreated. Or what if you shoot him 3 times, and any of those 3 shots, if left untreated, would kill him? I don't know how they. I'm not saying that what he's saying is right or wrong. I'm curious if they actually try to ascertain that. I don't know.
To stop the threat. And yes, we can get into discussions in Colian's defense now. Absolutely, meritorious discussions need and deserve to be had as far as response time, what's reasonable under the circumstances of a high-stress situation. If somebody spins to run away and that all happens within...
How do they even know the order that they got hit? Probably a combination of forensics and medical examiner stuff. So for instance, like if every single witness testifies that like the shooter shot 3 times and then ran out of the store, well, if there's 1 shot in the back, that was probably the last shot. Maybe they shot him first there and then the other 2 when you turn around, maybe, but I think you put it together with the whole scene, right?
we had as far as response time, what's reasonable under the circumstances of a high-stress situation. If somebody spins to run away, and that all happens within a very small, reasonable amount of time, that a force expert's going to be talking about is, yeah, he may have spun, and yeah, incidentally, as a result, he may have shot him in the back. That doesn't change the fact that he was legally privileged to use self-defense at that moment in time based on neuroscience, chemistry.
God forbid you get a prosecutor who is more on the anti-side of the issue. I mean, now you've got somebody who's devoted to making their case against you. So there's that aspect of it. Just one thing I can pull away from this is I walked into this with a certain level of confidence just based on my experience. And I'm walking away realizing there are so much you can't control that you think you can control within the situation that you think you have covered, but you don't. Because that ball of yarn keeps rolling even after you put the gun down. And that's something I hadn't completely thought through.
We're going to do another one. We're going to put you through this again.
So what are our plans this weekend? I don't have solidified on that. So.
You gotta get some garlic. No,
Okay. Is there anything that I can help with?
Okay. No, I'm good. Thanks. I appreciate
I just thought I would,
Oh, I thought the server was going to shoot him. She's like, I hate this customer.
It's a robbery! Everybody, nobody move! Nobody move! Put your wallets in the bag! Nobody move!
Bro.
Wallet in the bag. Wallet only. Right, wallet in the bag. Thank you very much for your purchase. Wallet in the bag. You guys over there. Every one of you. Yes, even you, blue shirt. Wallet in the bag. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you for your time. Make sure you get her on the way out.
What? What? Oh my God. Please no. Julia, please help me. Please help me.
That's got to be legit. There's no way you have to. I don't think you could shoot him if they're like running out of the store with your wallets. I don't think you're allowed to kill somebody for that. Maybe if they were in your home, maybe. But if you're trying to kidnap somebody.
Colin, we put you in a tough spot and you aced it. And prior to coming into this scenario, we set up all the role players specifically to make sure you couldn't move, and we gave you a 2-second window.
Man, I went and I was jonesing for that. It's weird how you go from like I was genuinely startled.
Yeah.
Because I didn't expect for a gun to go off for whatever reason. He comes in and he pops the cashier. At that point, there's a kind of it's just like this overwhelming helplessness. Because in your mind, your first instinct mentally is kind of like, all right, how to get to my gun. And then when that guy popped off, then I just got pissed because I was just like, it went from startle to helplessness to oh mother, here's the second guy, and then it was just almost pure anger. I already got gun training on me.
Yeah, it is kind of weird that none of these guys bring out the nut string. True, the ultimate in self-defense weaponry.
There's not much I can do. I'm sitting down. I'm not gonna be able to get my gun that fast, and I know if I start shooting, they're gonna open up. She doesn't have a gun, and she won't be able to move out fast enough. Hell, I won't even be able to move away fast enough. I may start shooting, he may get hit, but so will I.
Yeah.
And so at that point, I'm just like, all I can do is hope they don't just shoot us. They did just pop the cashier. So part of me is like, all right, this is for real. Like this isn't like, okay, we're just gonna take stuff and go. It's like at any point, just switch the flip again, and he's just like, oh, kill someone else. And that's when he was like, take her too. At that point, I'm like, wait, what? Because I couldn't tell if it was like shoot her too or take her with us. And so when he started coming, and I thought he was gonna shoot, and he had the gun trained, I kind of started, and he's like, don't you do it. And then he kind of reached and grabbed her hand, and I was like, okay, they're just trying to take her. So at this point, I'm like, all right, that gives me a little bit more opportunity to find where I could possibly dead this. As soon as the barrel left me, and he disengaged to a degree, and I could still kind of see he held her hand. She was still trying to take her, so that's when I grabbed. I saw my opportunity, but also I just wanted to make sure. I was like, I don't want to hit her, so I just want to get as close as possible, as fast as possible, and then get my shots off.
Yeah, that was perfect. And we didn't expect you to crush that distance in there. We thought maybe you'd get up and shoot from even shoot from a seated position. Now we got what I would call a legitimate shoot in the back. Now you were back there watching frame by frame to make sure because you're doing the prosecutor thing. What did you see?
There's two legal issues. The first one is we're going to have to be able to articulate, or at least Colin will, that when the bad guy was taking his girlfriend, why that was a deadly threat to her.
I mean, they've already shot one person. I feel like that's the easiest thing in the world to articulate. I feel like it must be. I feel like you must be able to defend any kidnapping attempt with lethal force. That would be my assumption. If somebody's trying to kidnap somebody, I feel like that's basically is always considered like some kind of lethal. Maybe not always, I guess. We can imagine like a domestic situation where like a parent is coming to take a kid and they don't have visitation rights or something, maybe something like that or whatever. But
to someone, because of course you can't just use deadly force. We can only use deadly force to stop a deadly threat, whether that's to yourself or to someone else, right? Defense of third person. So that's gonna be the first legal issue here, is to be able to articulate why this rises to the level of a deadly threat, so I can now use deadly force. The second issue is, when does that deadly threat stop, right? In other words, if he lets go of her hand, if the bad guy lets go of his girlfriend's hand in this scenario, is that still a deadly threat? Now, to Colin's point, we just watched them cap the cashier for no particularly good reason. So I think that even if he had fired after the hand had let go of her, I'm not saying that as a defense attorney I'm in love with this position, but I think that leans more towards the prosecution if you had fired after that point. But the simple fact is he didn't fire after that point. And I think that as a defense attorney, I would much rather have Colin as my client than be the prosecutor trying to prosecute him for, hey, you didn't have the right to use deadly force in this scenario. I think that if some sort of aggressive prosecutor wants to try to take this to trial, I'd rather be the defense attorney 10 times out of 10 on this.
In this scenario, immediately seeing that cashier get shot, change your whole mindset?
No, absolutely. The moment the kind of brazen taking of life, that lets me know, okay, all bets are off. At that point, it's like, it's kind of kill or be killed, but at the same time, don't be the catalyst for it turning into an okay corral shootout.
And that was going to happen. Everybody had the instruction that if he reaches for his gun before he's leaving with the girl, we're going to shoot everybody in the place.
It was probably one of the hardest acts of restraint I've had to engage in because you don't have control. There's a moment there where you're literally you're kind of in a free fall state where you're like, hopefully this shoot will open, and at any point he just tapped the cashier. So.
Okay, one more. We'll watch this.
It's all coming out today. The Wall Street Journal not only. It's all coming out today. The Wall Street Journal not only released an article today, they're getting sued as well for this article about Donald Trump's connection to Jeffrey Epstein. It's explosive. It's about a letter Trump sent to Epstein with supposedly a drawing of a naked woman by Trump, along with a little poem which talks about a wonderful secret that Jeffrey Epstein and Trump share. We will go through all the evidence because there's a lot to this. You are very silly if you jump to conclusions on a story this big with this wide of implications. Let's set the stage because we're going to take our time going through this. The president's behavior during the run-up to this Epstein file leak has been absolutely strange.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
It's pretty boring stuff. It's sordid, but it's boring.
You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because there's a lot of phony stuff.
These files were...
This is like truly the greatest example, I guess, of can he actually mindfuck his entire cult? Can he really piss on your leg and tell you it's raining? This is the ultimate example of him being able to do that.
Made up by Comey. They were made up by Obama.
Even his supporters.
And then the testing of like, can I really just say random shit? Like Comey and Obama made up, like Obama? How far back are we going? Like, are we going to start to blame Bill Clinton on this or what?
In there because there's a lot of phony stuff.
These files were made up by Comey. They were made up by Obama.
Even his supporters are like, well, why is he acting this way? It's so weird. All of a sudden it goes from the files exist to they don't exist to they're a hoax actually, and there's a bunch of phony stuff in there. This article, if true, explains a lot of the strange behavior. And we don't know if there's more that's going to come out, if this is all there is, but I'm going to go through the main allegation, and I will call it an allegation because Trump is definitely going to sue over this. He's already said as much. So here's basically...
And now we've seen he has filed the lawsuit in whatever Florida district, maybe hoping to get Eileen Cannon, I guess, as a judge, because he filed it in the Southern District of Florida. Is it my district? Is this what it's called? The United States District Court for the Southern District of Florida. I think he's already filed a lawsuit in this district.
The story. Supposedly, Ghislaine Maxwell collected letters from Trump and dozens of Epstein's associates for a 2003 birthday album. It was for his 50th birthday. Pages from the leather-bound album, assembled before Epstein was first arrested, are among the documents examined by the Department of Justice officials. So there are birthday letters to Epstein that supposedly have been seen by the DOJ. They have them in their files. And the one from Trump supposedly has a naked woman, which appears to be hand-drawn with a heavy marker, and the future president's signature is a squiggly Donald below her waist. The Wall Street Journal goes on to say it's not clear how the letter with Trump's signature was prepared. Inside the outline of the naked woman was a typewritten note styled as an imaginary conversation between Trump and Epstein. Voiceover. There's more to life than having everything. Donald. Yes, there is, but I won't tell you what it is. Jeffrey. Nor will I, since I also know what it is. Donald. We have certain things in common, Jeffrey. Yes, we do, come to think of it. Enigmas never age. Have you noticed that? As a matter of fact, it was me the last time I saw you. And the final line is, a pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret. Obviously, that is an insane thing to write to what later would be found out to be one of the world's most prolific but there's also two lines in there which are horrendous. One,
prolific pedophiles. What a title.
And enigmas never age. That's just a strange line. It's a very incriminating sounding line. We don't know what it means exactly. And then also we see, make every day be another wonderful secret. Of course, this all written inside the outline of a naked woman kind of tells you what secret they may be talking about there. Now we're going to go over Trump's response. And then, of course, all the...
You know what? You know what I just realized? I condemn the Wall Street Journal for the publication of this. I think that the Wall Street Journal should have published this story and claimed that it was a letter from Bill Clinton. And I think that they should have let people run with it for 48 hours to have the whole conservative media get their hits in. And then they should have switched in 2 days after collecting 1 billion clips and then revealed that it was from Donald Trump. I think that's what they should have done with this.
Evidence, all the denials, what you may want to know before making up your mind. Like I said, this is not a story where you're going to want to snap to judgment. Even now, I think there's still a lot we need to see. But I want to go over Trump's response. He gave an interview with the Journal on Tuesday evening, and he denied writing the letter or drawing the picture. Quote, "This is not me. This is a fake thing. It's a fake Wall Street Journal story. I never wrote a picture in my life. I don't draw pictures of women," he said. "It's not my language. It's not my words." He told the Journal he was preparing to file a lawsuit if it published the article. "I'm going to sue the Wall Street Journal just like I sued everyone else." What do we make of this? Before we jump into the evidence, before we jump into all the reactions, both public and of the people involved, let's just talk about what this could mean. The denial puts Trump in a very particular position, because if it later comes out and turns out to be true, it's worth saying the Wall Street Journal did not publish a photo of the letter, which everyone's been asking for. There are a lot of reasons not to publish it. Maybe your source didn't allow it, but that's a huge part that could come out that changes the whole landscape of this, right? If it comes out, it's very devastating, because you wouldn't lie about something like this if you thought it was no big deal, right? The denial actually implies a lot of bad things about what the letter could mean. If you weren't worried about a story like this, if you thought the letter was nothing, you wouldn't deny it. You would just give no comment. You certainly wouldn't give an interview. So now we're going to talk about the reactions of the people involved, because it's worth.
I don't necessarily agree with that logic. The issue is that because these guys have played into conspiracy so fucking hard, like they make it sound like anything that's even tangentially related to anything is 100% proof that you are part of some grand conspiracy. Look at the Hunter Biden shit forever. Like, you set yourself up for this. Like, this is your own fault.
Saying Trump is not the only letter mentioned in here. And I think that's really important, because in a story like this, you want to look to what could be corroborating evidence. So Alan Dershowitz is cited in the piece having written a letter that included a mock-up of a Vanity Unfair magazine with mock headlines of "Who was Jack the Ripper? Was it Jeffrey Epstein?" Alan, a former lawyer for Epstein, does not deny this. He says, "It's been a long time, and I don't recall the content of what I may have written." Lex Wexner also supposedly had a letter in there. He declined to comment. Supposedly his letter was, "I wanted to get you what you want, so here it is." After the text was a line drawing of what appeared to be a woman's breast. And then we have a former assistant who was not cited, who sent Jeffrey a letter. "Oh, Jeffrey of Jeffrey, everyone loves you. Fun in the sun, fun just for fun." Pretty innocuous. And then, of course, we have Donald Trump, who denies, of course, the whole thing. So we have some non-denials, some people who just didn't respond, and then we have Trump. Trump's the only one who's firmly denying this letter so far, with him doubling down on Truth Social, saying, "It's not my words, it's not the way I talk. Also, I don't draw pictures. I told Rupert Murdoch it was a scam and he shouldn't print this fake story, but he did, and now I'm going to sue him in his third-rate newspaper." Now, a couple comments quick on that. One, the Wall Street Journal is not a third-rate newspaper. It's also not a super left-leaning newspaper. Not that that should matter in journalism, but I know people's media...
I'll give him credit or whatever, because I don't know how much media stuff he covers, but to say that the Wall Street Journal is not a super left-leaning newspaper is not even close to accurate. The Wall Street Journal is considered right-leaning. Now, it's not as right-leaning as Fox, but if you were to ask anybody who does media or who follows media, are there any good, like, right-leaning publications, or who is, like, right-leaning publications? The Wall Street Journal is, like, your staple, like, center-right. They're not, like, a full-on crazy MAGA outlet, but that is your center-right publication. Everybody considers the Wall Street Journal to be, like, a center-right publication. Not, like, center-left, not, like, kind of far-left, but, like, that is a solidly center-right publication.
Media literacy, that stuff kind of tip off their signals. It's unlikely they're going to publish something they know they're going to get sued for unless they have something. And so here's where I want to talk about a little bit of the circumstantial stuff. So Trump obviously states, "I don't draw pictures," but turns out that's kind of not true. So in a book called Never Give Up, Trump wrote, "Each year I donate an autographed doodle to the Doodle for Hunger auction at Tavern on the Green. It's a great event." And sure enough, publicly you can find several doodles that Donald Trump has done. Most of these are of skylines, architecture. None of these are of women. Still, it's strange to say "I don't draw pictures" when you very clearly draw pictures and they appear to be in thick marker, which is what you were accused of drawing them in. Now, none of that means anything, but it just reminds me a little bit of the Prince Andrew denial. I don't know if you guys remember.
Wait, is that Prince Andrew? Why does he look so similar to... Are these guys all the same person?
Remember the sweat denial? A big part of the interview with Prince Andrew was the denial that he couldn't have done anything bad because he couldn't sweat. So this supposedly falsified Virginia Giuffre's whole story.
I have a peculiar medical condition, which is that I don't sweat, or I didn't sweat at the time.
So yeah, that was kind of this claim, like, hey, this couldn't be true because I don't do X. But actually, we see that Prince Andrew actually does sweat. And
Based King! We found your fingerprints all over the scene of the crime. Actually, I had a medical condition in those 2 months where my body actually had no natural human oils, so actually it would have been impossible for me to leave fingerprints. That's actually not possible. So I don't know who you found or what you found, but clearly they were planted there.
In the same way, it's not perfect proof, but you really shouldn't say you don't draw pictures when being accused of drawing thick black marker pictures when you definitely draw pictures sometimes. I mean, it's just, and it's public. I mean, that's just kind of just an obvious, devastating hole in your whole argument. Now, again, I've got to say, this is just the basics. We do not have the letter, okay? I'm relying on the Wall Street Journal's reporting on this, and we're corroborating with different pieces of public evidence. Ultimately, we need to see if this was actually in the Epstein files. But there are some other stuff, too, that we can look to corroborate this story. So we can look at the bookbinder. So in the Wall Street Journal report, we see a very specific and interesting corroboration. It says, the book was put together by the New York City bookbinder Herbert Weitz, according to people involved with the process. Weitz listed Epstein as a client on his website in 2003. So here we have a chance to corroborate externally. Of course, it's not a full corroboration, but we have a chance has to look to see, was it actually on his website, right? So if we go to the archive, we see in 2003 at whitescoleman.com, we see a client list, and we see Jeffrey Epstein is listed on it with a different spelling of Jeffrey, I should note. And this says people for whom we have bound up books and albums. This is another piece of circumstantial evidence that makes it hard to believe it's just fully made up. Now, you can believe something in the middle. You can believe that the letter exists and the Wall Street Journal saw it and somebody invented it, right? Like there are a lot of options here. But the idea that, okay, the Wall Street Journal is just fully inventing this story. They're releasing something with literally no evidence. They're just fabricating it all, but citing all these different people, citing third-party stuff that you can fact check publicly. That's a piece of evidence to think about. Now, we're going to talk about the public reactions to this. We have Caroline Leavitt, the press secretary, saying the Wall Street Journal published a hatchet job with a fake birthday letter that's supposedly from 2003. This is like the Steele dossier that kickstarted the Russia hoax all over again. The Wall Street Journal refused to show us the letter and conceded they don't even have it in their possession when we asked them to verify the alleged document they're basing their entire fake story on. Then you have Dan Wolkin saying the amount of people who think publications, the scope of the Wall Street Journal, just put explosive stuff out about a public figure without well-established authentication procedures and running it through a team of lawyers know literally nothing about journalism. Charlie Kirk says this is not how Trump talks at all. I don't believe it, referring to the actual letter's contents. Specifically, people picked up on the idea that Trump says enigma in the writing of it. In fact, Trump writing at all, some people find that hard to believe. J.D. Vance says, forgive my language, but this story is completely
My president is retarded. He doesn't know words like that. That's a great defense to go with, yeah.
The Wall Street Journal should be ashamed of publishing it. Where's the letter? Would you be shocked to learn they never showed it to us before publishing it? Does anyone honestly believe this sounds like Donald Trump? Of course, then you have a response to that where somebody says, Carson's an enigma to me. This is clearly debunking the idea that the word enigma is not in Trump's vocabulary.
Video.
Now, Carson's an enigma to me.
So that clearly debunks the idea that he couldn't have written this because enigma wasn't in his vocabulary. It actually is. So from where I'm sitting, the letter is odd. But it also is in line with some of these other letters from people like Lex Wexner. It's also in line with some of the doodles that Trump has publicly made. And it is also in line with Trump's recent odd behavior with the Epstein files, where he keeps setting up the idea that there's this big hoax coming, that there's phony stuff in there. And that actually is the most persuasive piece of evidence, Trump's own behavior in this weird meltdown, more than anything which has convinced me. Because on the one hand, there are some things which would tilt in the favor of it not being Trump, right? The very fact that it's a letter, the prose of the letter is a bit strange. And then you also have the fact that, okay, if the DOJ had this during the Biden years, why didn't it come out, right? So that's all pretty compelling until...
Wait, the DOJ, this didn't come from the DOJ, did it? I forget, on the Wall Street Journal. Didn't they just source like other people who might have had it? Was this sourced from the DOJ? Also, I don't know why the DOJ would necessarily even release something like this. It's not like this is evidence necessarily of a crime or anything like that, right?
You once again just look at the way Trump has been behaving. I think it strongly suggests that Trump saw something in the Epstein files, was debriefed on something that he was worried about. Whether it was this letter or something else, I don't know. But clearly there's something in those files that he was concerned about being involved with. I think we need a full declassification of these files except for the CSAM and victims. Now, to the declassifying comment, Donald Trump, based on this, has posted, based on the ridiculous amount of publicity given to Jeffrey Epstein, I have asked AG Pam Bondi to produce any and all pertinent grand jury testimony subject to court approval. This scam should end right now. And Pam Bondi has said, President Trump, we are ready to move on the court tomorrow to unseal the grand jury transcripts. I think that ultimately it needs to be every...
Remember, for the 20th time, if this was a Democrat, they would be insisting on a special counsel, right? Biden had to appoint a special counsel for his documents shit. There was a special counsel that was held over from Trump's term to investigate Hunter Biden. Remember that. If this was a Democrat, there would be a special counsel 1,000,000,000%. But since it's Trump, there will never be one. Yeah.
Everything or nothing. You can't give a little bit at this point. With the level of allegations being leveled against our president, that he would send pretty incriminating letters to the world's most notorious pedophile. Now, again, before he was arrested the first time, right? But given the letter's contents, given that they're doing so much, they're going to be suing the Wall Street Journal over this, to deny it, I think if it turns out to be true, is devastating. I mean, totally devastating and horrific, and no one should defend it if it's true. And that's what we need to find out at this point. So I think the answer is clearly that, yes, I would love the Wall Street Journal to release this photo if they have it in their possession, if they can release it from their source. And I would love for the DOJ to declassify the actual relevant pieces of this whole thing, because the absolutely central piece of evidence in this whole story are these letters, which are in a leather-bound album and supposedly in the DOJ's possession. That's clearly not...
Oh, it does say that, wait. Are among the documents examined by Justice Department officials who investigated Epstein and Maxwell years ago, according to people who have reviewed the pages. Oh, so maybe they looked at it, but it's hard to say if they actually took this into evidence, or they should have like copies of pictures of it or something, I would imagine, preserved somewhere. But
story are these letters, which are in a leather-bound album and supposedly in the DOJ's possession. That's clearly not going to be a grand jury transcript. That's going to be one of the pieces of evidence they collected from Epstein or Maxwell. And so that is a different category altogether. So I think given that, it's hard to see this as anything other than a distraction from what is actually relevant here, which is, does this album exist? Yes or no? Show us the evidence, right? Show us the physical evidence. Instead, this is just going to get people riled up because it's an Epstein release, but it's guaranteed by definition not to have the evidence one way or another. A transcript is not going to have a piece of physical evidence. And we need to demand answers on that, because either it exists or it doesn't. And if it does exist, that's a huge problem. If it doesn't, for the Wall Street Journal, that's a huge problem. And I'm really not sure which we are going to get first. All I know is that if you are looking from...
I mean, like, who has more credibility, the Wall Street Journal or the entire Trump administration? That's an easy one. The Wall Street Journal has way more credibility, so I mean...
the outside, I would highly recommend that you don't just dismiss things based on a quick, hot Twitter take. There's a lot to this story that is corroborating, and also we need more evidence on before we can really make up their mind. I see a lot of people have just already written it off as completely true or completely false. I think they're not thinking through the implications of, if this is true, how really crazy it would be if we live in that world. And then also the people who are dismissing it as false right away, you're not really thinking through, like, you might be defending right? That is one of the outcomes that could be true here. We don't know. And again, even if it is true, we don't know what is meant by things like, may every day be another wonderful secret. When calling Jeffrey Epstein a pal, we wouldn't know what that meant, but yeah, it's just stunning. So this report, you absolutely have to watch it. We're gonna have a lot more in the coming days to try to validate it or falsify it, and we'll see which one happens first. And yeah, that's pretty much all I'm prepared to say at this moment.
Back in my day, the government told better lies. True. Well, house is on heroin? Wait, what? Stop! Maybe we'll go over this tomorrow since people seem to be spamming this. The hunt for the world's most dangerous hackers. Stop! Was told this clip from the very early days of live streaming might belong here.
UK PKMKK says, I wanna fuck you.
Who is? Why do I feel like I remember this face? What is this about again? Who is this person?
Yes, right now.
She was a 4chan girl.
Thank you. It's nice to get some appreciation around here. Oh, he followed it up with a comment. Never mind. Just found out you're a girl. Oh.
Pace.
And okay, I'll just play it, but like seriously, be chill about it, okay?
All right, I got you.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just gonna play like a second. You tell me if it sounds alright.
Just forget.
Can you hear that?
Yeah,
that sounds good. Yeah.
Okay.
Did I really just forget that Epstein's a pedophile?
Yeah, but me off the track, me off the track, me off the track.
Meat on the beat.
Release the list.
Okay.
What is this? Quinn69 is hate playing your game? Is that the guy who actually made it so his child, his
now
own
play
daughter said pirate
Deltarune.
software is
That's a
disgusting
real
roach
game.
for a YouTube video?
Uh-oh.
Sounds like a great guy.
That's me, dude.
Uh-oh.
Enjoy your rage bait, I guess.
Uh-oh.
What? So she was... I wasn't hate playing. That's the... So he... But the thing is, he got baited. He just believed the chatter. And you can't get baited by chatters, because they will say whatever. I genuinely went in as an investigative journalist to find out whether or not the game was dog shit or not. If I was forced to give a review, let's be honest, I don't just give reviews. Unless I absolutely love something or I absolutely hate something, I wouldn't have reviewed this game, but I definitely wouldn't have downvoted it.
Have you covered any of the declassified Obama-Russia interference stuff from Tulsi Gabbard? No. Maybe in the future. Wait, what happened? Oh no, he ate his... Oh god. the quest item shit. You have to right-click fucking everything so you don't accidentally left-click on a thing and you didn't have the other thing highlighted, and then you fucking eat your some bullshit like random thing that took you like fucking like some trip to some bullshit island that you can't teleport to get. He's on Iron Man, so he can't trade other sport either. Rip.
You know what? That's the stopping point for the day. Perfect. That's it. There's a limit, and I just know that I'm gonna be way too angry and immature to keep streaming. My mood is ruined, and there's no improving it. So I'm just gonna walk away, and I'm gonna get off. GG's, and it's at perfect timing. Great. Anyways, have a great night, everyone. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see all of you tomorrow. Peace.
Evens are.
Okay. Did he destroy his PC after logging off?
I have a wonderful announcement, which is I actually was accepted into culinary school.
No one cares. Australian. Opinion immediately disregarded.
It's genetic. I don't know, my depth perception is really bad. I also have what's it called? Anti-Semitism.
Astigmatism?
What is
It's
that?
where your like eyes are fucked up. Like your
No, that's
cornea.
that's astigmatism.
Oh yeah,
Anti-Semitism
astigmatism.
is that's.
What did I say?
You said.
Okay.
Oh!
I'm reloading!
What are you shooting at?
There was a mosquito. I got him. All good, bro.
Good work.
Okay.
One jump left. 98 hours into the hunt, which is very fitting, by the way, because before I named myself Last TM, I was called Last 98 TM or something. It's been my birth year. It was meant to be finishing in 98 hours below 100. It's one jump. And there's only one thing left to do.
One thing.
PF. Yes. 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 Yes! Let's go! Third place. Oh, there you go. We finished it. Nice. And author time on top of that as well. Let's go. Woo.
Wow.
Nice. Okay. Top
Wow, thanks, Alex DGG93.
3 secured. And with that, the podium is decided on Deep Slip. What a one.
Wow, amazing. Good job, guy.
I think.
Time me.
E-Rob is training for a corn on the cob eating contest. Is he choking? Did he die? Does he die in this clip?
Bro, this slide down dude is insane. Oh my god, the boss remembers that I killed. Oh, okay, actually, this isn't even that bad. Never mind. This is so fucking stupid.
Skill problem.
Oh my god, I have to watch that. What the fuck is this?
That's what they were just trying to.
Holy shit.
Deleted scene from The Matrix.
Mr. Anderson. What good is... I'm not going to go there. It's good. What good is my cock going to do you when you don't have an ass? And then Neo goes, what? What? And then he pulls his pants down and spreads his cheeks for the camera, and you see the skin start to like cover up his asshole. No!
Why? Okay.
Trying to do in Lubbock was prevent women from using public highways.
Well, there was also the thing where they were trying to go after women that traveled to other states.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. And even if there was no evidence, like say if a woman travels to see her in-laws or her parents or something like that, and then has a miscarriage,
right.
That to me was very creepy. That if this woman had traveled somewhere where abortion is legal and then lost her baby, they would then be accused, even if they had not had an abortion. They would be questioned, and that to me is incredibly insensitive, especially when you take into consideration some of these women might not have had abortions at all. They might have just lost the baby, which happens quite often where there are miscarriages.
It's interesting you bring up miscarriages because, if I'm, again, trying to take people at their word, trying to assume the best intentions and hear a good faith argument on the other side of this, if my concern is with the life of an embryo, the life of a fetus, the greatest threat to that life is a miscarriage. I mean, if your concern is how many embryos or fetuses we're losing, the number that we lose to miscarriage versus the number we lose to abortion, I mean, it's dwarfed. And so I'm always interested why the pro-life movement is not more interested in figuring out how we prevent more miscarriages. Because if your concern is that embryonic life, it seems like finding ways to prevent miscarriage, which we have best practices that can do it, right? Making sure people are covered by health insurance once their pregnancy starts. I mean, that is a huge opportunity to prevent miscarriages.
Criminal investigations for all miscarriages. True. One of my least popular but still correct opinions is that adultery should be a criminal offense punishable by serious prison time for both parties involved. How much adultery has Donald Trump committed? What the fuck? Based. Okay. Is it COVID time?
All right. Let's go back to the bridge. Home.
Wait, what I missed? Sorry. Oh.
Home.
Right. Is something wrong? Right. Right.
Got
for
him.
the fucking gift. Oh god. Oh my god, I felt.
Why?
Right in.
Ugh. The exact same one, bro. Don't clip it. Don't clip it. Do not clip it. Do not clip it.
All right. He's got it this time.
Okay, so I have to just get over it.
There you go.
Oh my. Wait, what do I do?
Right. Come in. Right. Right.
Based. Absolutely. Bayzeda. Bayzed. Bayesian. All right. We're about to crush these 60 pages in 2-3 hours. All right. Oh my God, I'm so ready for it. Will you play the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake on stream? Probably not, but maybe. More likely to play the Final Fantasy Tactics remake. All right, I'll go 1 minute, 1 second.